Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 12, text number 28, okay. Vacham dehuitiram thavin. Vacham dehitiram thavin. Sayam bhu haritim mana. Akamam chakam kasate. Satkama itina sutam. Vachakam dehitaram thanvin. Swayambhu haratam mana. Akamam chakaram kasate. Sakama itina sutam. Vacham dehitaram thanvin. Swayambhu haritim mana. Akamam chakam sasate. Sakama iti na sutam. Mothers. Anyone else? Okay, word for word. Vacham vak. Okay, let's see. Okay. Vacham vak dehutaram onto the daughter Tanvim born of his body Swambhav Brahma Haritim attracting Mana his mind Akamam without being sexually inclined Chakamai desired Sata O Vidura Sakama being sexually inclined Iti thus Na we Sutam have heard. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Bhak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. Please repeat responsibly. O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Bhak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Balabat Indriya Grama Vidvam Api Kasati 9 Srimad Bhagavatam 9, 19-17. It is said that the senses are so mad and strong that they can bewilder even the most sensible and learned man. Therefore it is advised that one should not indulge in living alone even with one's mother, sister or daughter. Vidvam sam apikaste means that even a most learned also becomes victim of the sensual urge. Maitreya hesitated to state this anomaly on the part of Brahma, who was sexually inclined to his own daughter. But still, he mentioned it because sometimes it so happens. And the living example is Brahma himself, although he is the primary living being and the most learned within the whole universe. If Brahma could be a victim of the sexual urge, then what of others who are prone to so many mundane frivolities? The extraordinary morality on the part of Brahma was heard to have happened to us to have occurred in some particular kalpa, but it could not have happened in the kalpa in which Brahma heard directly from the Lord the four central verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Lord benedicted Brahma after giving him lessons on the Bhagavatam that he would never be bewildered in any kalpa whatsoever. This indicates that before the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, he might have fallen a victim to such a sensuality, but after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam directly from the Lord, there was no possibility of such failures. One should, however, take a serious note of this incident. The human being is a social animal, and his unrestricted mixing with the fair sex leads to downfall. Such social freedom of man and woman, especially among the younger section, is certainly a great stumbling block on the path of spiritual progress. Material bondage is only due to sexual bondage. Therefore, unrestricted association with man and woman is socially a great impediment. Maitreya cited this example on the part of Brahma just to bring to our notice this great danger. Nasta presu bhadresu nityam bhagavati sevayam bhagavati uttama sloke bhakti bhavati nashtaki. So, Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam, in certain sections, he explains how this can apply both ways for a man or a woman becoming attached to the bodily platform and falling down. Um, uh, so the difficulty is being on the bodily platform, which binds one to the material world. In the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, in the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, Krishna says, sex life according to religious principles is not different from me. But this free mixing, it can lead to downfall because it creates unwanted progeny, and that disturbs the society, it disturbs the world situation. So in the Vedic culture, the system was, even in Bengali, they have it like that the women live in the inner section, men live in the outer section. So the mixing is only for procreation of children. Otherwise, there is no mixing. Because we've been conditioned for many lifetimes in the material world. And the bodily platform is very strong. And as soon as one gets a material body, lust is there. So unless one is trained in spiritual practices and the Vedic culture, to deal with lust is difficult. Because people are affected by mode of passion, ignorance. So Prabhupada does mention in the Bhagavad Gita purport to the verse Kama Esha, Karma Esha, Rajaguna Samava, he mentions in the point that we have to come to the mode of goodness to overcome this lust. And then from mode of goodness one can take to Krishna consciousness. So the Vedic culture was trained like that. People were trained to come to mode of goodness. So unfortunately in Kali Yuga, the situation is upside down. So things are more difficult. But we have many examples in our line of acharyas and even Lord Chaitanya teaching us how we have to be careful with people who are on the bodily platform. So the example is there of Lord Chaitanya, that he wasn't even willing to see King Patraparudra because kings are associated with wealth and women. Just to teach an example for us that we have to be careful with rich people. Otherwise, we can get affected by their influence. And there's an example of Srila Prabhupada. One time he was with his sister Pashima, and there was a devotee who was with Srila Prabhupada at that time, one of his disciples. So Prabhupada told him not to leave. He said, don't leave. Making the point that it's not good to be alone with one sister or mother alone. Another example is Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. One of his disciples, lady disciples, wanted to see him in private. And he didn't accept that. He said, you see me now. So we can see even these acharyas, they're teaching by the example how careful we have to be dealing with those on the bodily platform. So Even Srila Bhakti Churma, there was an instance in Ujjain where his sister wanted to see him. So he didn't see her. So I had an instance myself one time when I went to see the family, could see the Bhagavatam becoming alive. I was with my sister and she had a child in her hand, young child. So she was there in the house and the family were going to go out. My mother and father and brother, they're going to go out to some temples. So I had an option to be with her or to go with them. So I went with them, and on the way I got some Bhagavad Gitas. I went to one devotee's house, he gave me some Bhagavad Gitas for distribution. So, but I could feel the energy was there. So I avoided the energy and somehow I was with the positive energy where I got Bhagavad Gita, so I was under Krishna's protection. So from that example, I can see Bhagavatam is true. For those who are very advanced, even though they may deal with women, but they do it only for the purpose of serving Krishna. They don't do it otherwise. Like Narada Muni, he took the Prahlad's mother away when Hiranyakashipu was doing austerities. And he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to her. But he only did it for the deliverance of Prahlad Maharaj. Because her focus was on Hiranyakashipu. She wasn't focusing on the Bhagavatam. So now Narada Muni only did it for the benefit of Prahlad Maharaj. Then when Hiranyakashipu finished his austerities, then he took the wife of Hiranyakashipu back. And that was it. He didn't have more dealings with her. And even Haridas Thakur, this Ramachandra Khan, he was trying to make Haridas Thakur fall down by sending a prostitute. So Haridas Thakur could have left. But he stayed and he told her, after he delivered the prostitute, after 3 days of chanting Hare Krishna, non-stop day and night, the prostitute admitted, she said, I was sent by Ramachandra Khan to make you fall down. Please forgive my offense. So Haridas Thakur said, I knew this was going to happen, but I stayed to deliver you. So this is advanced platform. And even in Saints of Braj, there is a pastime of one devotee. He was very advanced in chanting holy name. And this king, one Raj in Vrindavan, in that area, wanted to see this saint. He wanted to see him. But the saint was very strict that he wouldn't see any people who had wealth and opulence. He just wouldn't see them. He had no interest. He was just involved in bhajan, in his chanting. So then he told this Raj, he said, bring your favorite queen to me. So the queen went, and in his chanting, he was just looking at her. So the Raj thought that, this king thought, maybe he's got attraction to my wife. But it was different, because just by that glancing of that devotee, the queen became a devotee. And she became a great saint in her time. So then this king could understand that by the influence of his saint, although I could not personally see him, he blessed my wife and she became a devotee. So this is advanced platform where someone's very deep into their chanting. By their power, they can influence others to become devotees. So even Srila Prabhupada, he went into a place in America where men and lady, there were men naked and women naked in some place. But Prabhupada wasn't affected. And when he went there, he actually made a few devotees by his presence. So this rule doesn't apply to everybody. It applies to those who are advanced. They can help others uplift their consciousness. But in general, one has to be careful dealing with the opposite sex. Because the influence of Maya is very strong. Krishna says, Devi Yushugana Mai Mama Maya Duje Mama Prapadante Maya Metam Tarantite. That this material energy is very strong, and to overcome it, one has to surrender to me. So from the Bhagavad Gita, it explains 7th chapter how everyone is Prakriti in the eyes of Krishna. Krishna is Supreme Purusha. So if we can just understand that point that we are Krishna's servants and everything should be used for Krishna's service, then even the energies of this world, we don't have a negative effect on us. In the Chaitanya Bhagavad, it is explained how when Lord Chaitanya did his pastime where he became Rukmini in a drama, he took the role of Rukmini, and in that role of Rukmini, Lord Chaitanya took everyone, all the devotees, he fed them breast, like his mother feeds breast milk to the children. So he actually nurtured all the devotees. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur comments that because after Lord Chaitanya did that drama, when the dawn was coming in, the night was ending, all the devotees felt great separation, and they felt we have no shelter now. And but Lord Chaitanya, it's explained, he breastfed, he nurtured the devotee in a way that they became satisfied in the form of Rukmini. In that, so it's explained in the purpose of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. He says, if you see all women for Krishna's pleasure and not for your sense gratification, they will bless you to go towards Krishna. If you see them for sense gratification, then they'll exploit you. So the high understanding is we have to see everything for Krishna's pleasure. And this is one of the modern defects of modern society, that they are not open to see that viewpoint, that how Krishna is the center. And they want to be the center. So this is why so many difficulties are in the material world. Abortions, women being exploited, old people not being looked after, is because people are not opening out to what Krishna is saying. And Prabhupada said the difficulty of the material world is people want the kingdom of God without God. So they're trying to be God, and this is why difficulties are coming in. But if they could accept this simple understanding how we are not the body, because Prabhupada says spiritual life doesn't begin until you accept this point, you are not the body, you are spirit soul. So that's the beginning of spiritual life. So that comes when in the story of Socrates, Prabhupada explained how he was like a muni. Munis are people who approach in their own way of studies. So Socrates understood that he's not the body, but he didn't fully realize who Krishna was. But Prabhupada explained in his conversation how if he just understood what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, he would have saved him many lifetimes about understanding this point about how he is not the body. And he could have understood the greatness of Krishna. So the difficulties come in when people don't accept the line of disciplic succession. They're trying to do the ascending way. They don't want to accept the line of disciplic succession. So in America, this is very prominent, where people say we are spiritualists, but we are not religionists. But being a spiritualist, they're trying to work out with their own 4 defects. They're trying to work things out in their own way. Living entity has 4 defects. A tendency to cheat, make mistakes, be illusioned in perfect senses. The line of disciplic succession of spiritual masters, they give the perfect knowledge, which is coming from Krishna, which is above the 4 defects. So, this is one of the challenges of devotees have to face in the material world. Because there's always a group of people who are not willing to come off of the bodily platform. They want to be on the bodily platform. And devotees are doing everything to uplift these masses of people, but they have to be careful themselves not to come down to their level. So that requires that one has to have good sadhana and keep good association of those who are strong. And seeing through the eyes of scriptures. Otherwise, conditioned nature is very strong. As long as one has a material body, the lust will affect. So Srila Prabhupada asked a question on this point about lust, how to deal with lust. And Prabhupada said, as soon as you get a material body, lust is there. You can't avoid it. But Prabhupada said, I had no time for lust. I was so busy in my service to Krishna, I had no time for lust. So this is a secret. Somehow you have to absorb the mind in Krishna 24 hours, then the time for lust will not be there. And there's an interesting pastime to show how if someone does get involved in those who are on the bodily platform, how the lust can affect. This is a pastime with Durvasa Muni from the Puranas. Okay. So, how Shashika, the son of Bali, became Dhanikasura, and how Tilotama became Usha, the daughter of Banasura, from the Brahma Bharata Purana. I'll give you a summary. So, Shashika was Jai Shishirada Gokulanda ki Jai. Shashika was going to Sahasika was going to see the moon, to have a relationship with the moon god. But then he saw Tilotama on the way. Actually, Tilotama was going to see the moon god to have a relationship. But then she saw Sashishika on the way. And he was very handsome and beautiful. So So they went to the Mandara mountains to enjoy themselves. And Duvasha Muni was doing austerities there. And he became very disturbed. And he cursed both of them. So Sahasika became Dhanakasura. And Tilotama became Usha. She became the daughter of Banasura. So there was one sage who was known to Duvasha Muni. He had a daughter, and his daughter was very argumentative. So after this cursing of Shashika and Tilotama, Duvasha Muni became very disturbed. The lust was affecting him. So he asked his sage, "Can I marry your daughter, who's very argumentative?" The sage agreed. So after marrying the daughter, at some point she was argumentative, this daughter, and Duvasha Muni caused her to become ashes. So the daughter became ashes. And this sage, he was so disturbed, he said, "Why did you kill my daughter, So Duvasha Muni said, "What can I do?" She was just arguing, "What can I do, So I'm sorry." And she was apologizing. And at some point, a Brahmana came. This is Krishna coming in the guise of a Brahmana and telling Duvasha Muni, you do more austerities now. Don't worry about what happened. So this is a lesson to learn from this pastime, how if we get involved in those who are in the bodily platform, they'll disturb our mind. And just by their presence, the lust will affect us. So, and this is Duvasha Muni, is a very powerful. He can travel the universe in 1 year, and he got affected. So what to say about us who are nothing compared to him? But he's a part of the expansion of Lord Shiva. So even Lord Shiva showed by his example how one has to be careful dealing with women. Lord Shiva wanted to see the pastime Mohini Murti. He wanted to see that form. And Lord Shiva, although he controls the mode of ignorance, but he's above the ignorance. He's on the spiritual platform. So Mohini Murti bewildered him also. So these are pastimes that show how careful we have to be with dealing with things which are not related to Krishna. Because Prabhupada said, some of my disciples are not afraid of Maya. They like to just carry on, and they don't see how Maya can influence them. But for an advanced devotee, he's very careful how he deals with others who are not advanced. He tries to help them on the spiritual platform. Krishna sees your ambition. This is the main thing what Krishna sees. What is your purpose? Why you're doing something? So Raj was telling me, he works in a Heathrow airport. So he said, sometimes he has to deal with women where he has to open them up, surgery or accident happens, he has to deal with them. So he's doing this for saving their lives. He's not doing it for his own purpose. So he said it depends on your motivation, what you're doing with dealing with something. You have to see what your motivation is. So for him, he's doing it to save someone's life. He's not doing it for his own sense gratification. So even example of Raghunath Prabhu was there, who passed away. He was telling a story how this is when he was a Gurukul teacher in Vrindavan, and there was a lady nurse. So he was in the Brahmacharya ashram, and somehow this devotee lady, this Mataji, she got the news of Raghunath's condition. So she just went into the Brahmacharya ashram and she saved his life. So Raghunath mentioned, he said, if she didn't come, I would have left my body. So it does seem for the higher purpose of helping someone carry on with their Krishna consciousness is the goal. Or saving one's life, because human life is very precious. So if you can save someone's life for helping them progress on the spiritual path is the purpose. Any questions or comments? Okay. Read the bit of the purport. Which section do you want me to read? I'll answer the question first.
I just wanted to ask the story you read about Durvasa Muni cursing these two personalities, because ultimately then the Dinakasura he got liberated, he got killed by Krishna. Usha, she's the one who married Aniruddha, is that right?
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
So I'm just wondering, because we hear that the curse of a Vaishnava is a blessing, but Durvasa Muni isn't necessarily understood to be a Vaishnava. He's a great yogi, but is even his curse still a blessing?
Hard to understand, you know. I'm just giving you the Purana story. just to point out in this story how those who get in, because they were into the enjoying mentality, Uttama, Tilotama and this Shashika, they were in enjoying mood. So Durvasa Muni got involved in that situation. And somehow the Krishna had a plan where he also wanted to, that daughter of the sage, she was always arguing, she wasn't doing. So somehow the Krishna made an arrangement to purify her and hard to understand Krishna's plans. And he made Durvasa Muni the instrument in this situation. But the fact that he got involved in that, he got disturbed by it. The point is, you have to avoid getting involved in someone on the body platform. That's it. Simple. Because Krishna is very, very strong about this point, that you should, he says about this point about understanding you're not the body. It's like there's no compromise. Like Prabhupada gives a point, he says, in his teaching Kunkunti lecture, he says, some may be thinking, I am father, I am mother, I'm looking after my children, like this. Prabhupada said, ultimately, Krishna is the father and mother of everybody. We are just dancing like monkeys. So Prabhupada is making a point that we have to come off the body platform.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your lecture. My question is regarding the statement you said that Prabhupada mentioned that he's too busy. so he doesn't have time for lust. So my doubt is whether that's enough just to keep busy to make lust disappear. Is that a visible thing? Because lust might stay, you still can keep busy, but is that enough?
I mean, look at the gopis, you know. Gopis didn't have any time for anything. They were just uploading Krishna. Even they were lusty towards Krishna, the lust became love. So Lord Chaitanya glorifies the mood of the gopis, the highest level of surrender. So if you can follow the mood of the gopis, be absorbed in Krishna all times, lust will turn into love.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. In the purport, it mentions about how one should move away from their wife, their daughter, mothers. Actually, my brother's got 3 daughters and a wife and a mother that he has to, on a daily basis, look after. Should he move out?
Well, I mean, the thing is, if they're sick and they need caring for, you have to look after them, isn't it?
No, but in the purport, it's all about sex and one would fall down. But how can you give us a solution for this?
I mean, the thing is, I don't know the full situation of your brother, but is he alone with the mother at all times? Is he alone with the mother at all times? Is he alone with the mother? Is he?
Sometimes, yeah.
Is he alone all day with her?
No.
So this is the point. You shouldn't be alone all day. You can be alone for service purposes. Apart from that, you shouldn't be alone all day. Because the senses are powerful. Even a man of knowledge will affect.
Hare Krishna. Here's a question. Sometimes, even there may be separation, but there can be connection. I'll give you an example. Suppose, say, a sannyasi, say a marriage is cooking for a sannyasi. She may not even see the sannyasi may not see her. But if they know who each other is, then it's like an exchange going on. So it's kind of like, in a sense, that could be considered association, even though it's not like physical association. I'm just wondering, I think that's far more dangerous than a father being with his daughter kind of thing, to be honest. Just to go back to your point, I don't know how that, I don't know anyone who actually follows that. I mean, I've got a daughter, I just don't follow it in the slightest. It's very impractical to never be with my daughter, so I have to travel with her and all sorts of things. But it is an interesting point. I don't know how Prabhupada would answer that if he was present right now. But yeah, this thing about doing service, is like, take what sannyasis, if we're going to do service for the sannyasis, there's a tendency that an emotional connection could develop from that. Just your comments on that.
I think if you're doing it for Krishna's purpose, then it's okay. If you're doing anything for your own purpose, then it's dangerous. Isn't it?
Yes.
Like, I'll give you an example, like this is Vipramukha Maharaj when he was Maharaj here. Srila Bhakti Churu Maharaj came and told him before he fell down. He told him, be careful, sannyasi is a high order. Because he was speaking to lady disciples on the phone and communicating with them. But the warning did come to him. So I think it's more on a physical platform where you're communicating with them. That's when the fall down happens. But if you're taking service on behalf of Krishna, then you're protected.
Actually, there was many times I was alone with my mother. She was sick. She had no company. I brought her things. It was my duty. there's no harm. Because you're not on the platform of the body, you're on the platform of compassion. Like here, it's happened here. The platform of compassion is way above any sexual attraction. So we should, it's something to understand that really duty and compassion are above all these things. It's a logical thing to me that one should care about one's family.
I did mention that point about what you're mentioning, about Raghunath Prabhu's example. I did cover that. I think Prabhu's got a question behind you.
I was just going to say that I think the reason they give the example of associating with the mother and the sister, because most of us have to deal with our family, is just it's like we always have to be careful, and just to help us make it, because obviously they haven't thought of any kind of relationships on that, like ancestral relationship is pretty bad, abominable for most people, but just to help us take it very seriously. That Maya is very, very strong, and even Brahma was attracted to his own daughter.
Good point, yeah. Okay, anything else? Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.